All right, good evening, traders. It is Friday, end of the week, August 25th, 2023. Let's jump into the markets briefly, and then we'll get to our account. So the SPY today rose $3.08. SPX was up 29.40 on the day. So looked a little shaky at the beginning, but really just an up day in the markets. Had some pretty big swings. At one point, there was a 15-minute span where we were up 20, down 20, back up 20, as Jay Powell was talking. If we look at just a quick peek at SPX during the day, I know it's hard to see on these charts, probably on your laptop, but if we take a look at the 15-minute here, we ran up early on, so some slight upticking. Then we ran all the way up to 44.16 and then dropped to 43.78, all in the same 15-minute span. And on that particular drop, we just kept dropping. So if we look at the 3-minute chart here, we just drop all the way down to that 43.56 span. So really in the span of 45 minutes? In 45 minutes, we dropped from a high around 44.20-ish all the way down to 43.56 or so. So 64-point swing midday. I mean, that's a giant swing midday. And then we just got on a tear and moved higher through the session until about, I'd say, 3:30-ish, and then sold off. Now, we did time some good trades today. I mean, this was a perfect spot here around 11 o'clock. You could see at 11, probably better if I do it on a different chart, but right around here, when we hit this bottom, you can see stochastic momentum was starting to turn right here at 11. RSI just tagged the oversold line, and MACD was starting to reverse right here. So it was a perfect time to get in. And if we look at what was happening, in here on the 3-minute chart during that segment here, right at 11 o'clock, MACD had already begun to change momentum. Stochastic momentum, the STOMO here started rocketing upwards. RSI was coming off or so oversold. So we had a very good 15 and 3-minute signal, strong move up. And some of the traders got in here pretty close to the lows, maybe to 43.60 even, and rode that up a good 15, 16, 17 points higher, and then probably took profits as soon as we started to turn over here as the stochastic momentum started to flip back down. But you could have stayed in and really rode that higher until we broke the uptrend line. And then as the day wore on, I mean, we just moved higher and higher and higher and higher. Then we had another opportunity late day here. And this is where I will show you one of the trades later. If we look at the 15-minute right here around, I'd say 3 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe 3:15, you could see that we were oversold or overbought on both the stochastic momentum, and MACD was starting to try to turn over. And then really here, right around, I'd say 3:30, we had a pretty good move, a reversal on the day on pretty much everything on the 15. But if we're watching the 3-minute, we actually right here at exactly, pretty much exactly 3:30, we called a top exactly, and we put on a call credit spread right here, just fractionally out of the money, just fractionally up here, and watch this thing just take off. We closed for a quick 60% winner on the session. But all we're doing really is I'm taking my cue from the 15-minute. When it starts to make its move and change direction on the MACD, the stochastic momentum, maybe even RSI or SPX, as soon as you start to see that momentum change, then I'm watching whatever's happening on the 3-minute, and I'm waiting for the 3-minute to match it with the exact same move in the same direction. So a good day for us there. We'll take the win on a 0 DTE directional call credit spread on the day. So as we mentioned, markets moved up, not a full percentage, not a giant day, but an up day nonetheless. However, that changes almost zero about anything. It's an inside day compared to yesterday's engulfing candle. On the daily, also on the weekly, exact same thing, which means we really haven't changed anything about the trend we're in, which right now looks to still be down. I would consider roughly any bounce in the markets right now a chance to possibly get a little short. But on the daily, we do have some bullish momentum on MACD and RSI. So we could get a move higher. I just don't know if that's going to be sustainable, but I'll wait and see how that move plays out before we jump in with anything. Same on the Qs. Today, we finished off the highs of the day. We couldn't break back above the 50 EMA. We didn't get back to the 21 EMA, even though MACD and RSI did improve. We're still bearish on the weekly. IWM really didn't do a whole lot of anything today. It was essentially unchanged to fractionally higher, finishing inside yesterday's candle. We did trigger today, though, a bearish PSAR reversal on IWM, even though MACD and RSI are pointing higher. So what does all that mean? It means what I've been saying for a week. If you're listening to any of these videos, that this was the perfect time for a strangle on IWM. You are dead center between the Bollinger Bands on the weekly, and we really did nothing for a full week here. So perfect time to put on a strangle there. VIX overall dropped on the day, so gave back completely everything. So yesterday essentially never even happened. We're back to a downtrend on the VIX, closing under 16 points. Now the US dollar, which is the one we're watching here, it's the one, the one asset to rule them all right now that has a lot to do with how we're doing in our trading. Another update on the dollar, strengthening MACD, overbought but still rising, and no divergence on RSI. So still strong relative strength on the daily, getting to the Bollinger Band, getting closer to the 3 ATR and some resistance here. Weekly triggered a PSAR bullish signal, which we were expecting to happen. Weekly looks very strong. The US dollar is right now a runaway train for 6 straight weeks. We'll see if we can make it 7 without taking a break, but 6 straight weeks of nothing but up, 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 up in the dollar, which is impacting, the Forex strangles that we have. We've got a Aussie dollar strangle here as we headed back lower on the day. We've also got a Euro strangle where we headed back lower on the day. We've stayed out of the British pound, even though it looks better than the rest, but it started to break through this key level in here today as it remains in a PSAR bearish signal, getting overdone. Okay, but it doesn't mean we can't stay there for a while, and we're almost overdone on the Aussie dollar, and we're definitely oversold RSI wise on the euro, but we can stay there. And then oil, the other one that we're watching here, had a nice update today, ran back up and closed right about the 21 EMA as MACD tried to make a reversal here today. We'll see how this goes, but we're seeing on the histogram momentum coming out of the downward slide. RSI starting to tick higher, still in a bit of a lack of momentum pullback here, but not a bearish mode. But you've got a pullback on the weekly, which is perfect. This is exactly what we need to strengthen the next leg up. So like where oil is in here, and then on gold, had a pretty flat day today on gold. 2 days in a row where gold's done almost nothing right at the 21 EMA. MACD continues to improve and show upward momentum. RSI is rising, so gold bouncing off of this 21 moving average here and moving back higher, still in a downtrend overall when we look at the weekly. So this bounce is nothing more than just a bullish bounce or move on a weekly This weekly was no different than last week's. We just stayed pretty much inside it or equal to it. But it's a good little sign here. If we start to move higher, we'll keep an eye on this downtrend line here. But right now, we are still in a bearish mode heading down, but bullish PSAR, potentially a reversal on MACD and RSI curling up on the weekly. So we'll see if we get a little move higher on gold. So there's where we are on the futures. If we take a look at most of the major sectors today, everything was up. Yesterday, everything was red. Today, everything is green. XLK having a pretty good update, even though it's inside yesterday's bearish engulfing candle. XLY really led the way today, which is your Amazon and your Tesla. So as we look in here, we'll see Amazon up 1% today, Tesla up almost 4%. Tesla, the big winner on the day. We did a video today on Tesla, TSLY, which is the income generating ETF on that. So if you're interested in seeing what they're doing on there, claiming 70% dividend payouts throughout the year, I'll give you my opinion on that. You can check that out. It's not something that's going to match Tesla tick for tick at all. It's just an income generating tool. But right now it's generating pretty good revenues of about 5 to 6% a month on those. Okay, so XLY, best sector of the tech group up today. Best sector overall, XOP, the oil sector moving up. Strong XBI. So when we're looking at the biotech ETFs here, a good little bounce today. XLE, even defensive, was up today. So a broad-based turnaround after yesterday's broad-based selling. Even financials, which really stink, were up a little bit today. So financials still look terrible. They're still in this kind of consolidation period in the middle of this weekly downtrend for the last 5 weeks that we've been in, but maybe trying to find some footing in here. MACD is reversing on the daily. RSI coming off oversold levels. So financials looking to put up a little bit of a fight right now. We'll keep an eye on that. It's fighting a downtrend, so nothing means anything to me at this point until we get out of this downtrend and start to make some higher lows and higher highs. Right now, we're just making lower lows, lower highs on these moves. All right, so there's where the sectors are. We talked a little bit about Amazon, up 1% today, just trying to hold on to this uptrend line and bouncing off this support area that we have in here. So all good on Amazon, still below the 21, above the 50 EMA, nothing unusual happening there. If we take a look at Apple, had a good day today, up 1.26%, staying right in this tight range. Inside day after yesterday's bearish engulfing, it is below the 21, which is already below the 50. Even though MACD and RSI are rising here over the last really last week or so, we've really not had any movement. We're pretty much massively unchanged with where we started where we were last week. Microsoft had a good day, again, up 1%. See Apple for the same analysis. Meta had a 0.5% up day. So overall, I'm sorry, not even an up day. It was a down day on Meta, one of the down stocks. Not great with everything else moving up for Meta to show some weakness. This thing remains in a bearish trend on the weekly, and it remains in a bearish trend here on the daily. And we can actually start to put in this downtrend line, which looks to be pretty valid at this particular point in time. And this support level, which also looks pretty doggone valid in here as well. So this was resistance, came back, became really good support, then came back and became support. We ran up, came down, and it was support again today. So a really good support line here. If we break this, this would be extremely bearish on my end of things. And then we have this downtrend line we have to break. But right now we've got lower lows and lower highs, nothing to get excited about. Google, I still think this is one of the stocks we can get into. If we're going to do something, it's held up the best, still above its 21, came down, bounced off of this support line that we had drawn in here. So we'll extend this out a little further, but we came down, banged off of that thing and moved higher. We did break this downtrend. So we're no longer in a series of lower lows and lower highs. We've now got a higher high. We'll see if we have a higher low, which looks very promising potentially. But Google, just a big flag pattern here for the most. I don't even know it's a flag pattern. If we're looking at the weekly, because it is moving sideways, but not a big uptrend. This has been higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, potentially higher low in here when this thing resolves. So overall, Google looking pretty good here. I would think that we're going to need to break yesterday's high, which is pretty much the resistance area from this zone. So we're going to draw a new line in here, and we'll keep an eye on that particular line. Horizontal lines mean more to me than vertical lines. So we banged up against this resistance or previous high areas in here, and we just meandered through this whole thing sideways. Maybe we're getting some momentum. We'll see what happens. Nothing extraordinary there. NVDA today was a good trade for us. We actually put on a call credit spread in NVIDIA, and we were able to take that thing off for a nice winner today. So we pulled out a, like a 26% winner as this thing sold off and then started to base. It was not a 0 DTE trade in NVIDIA. This was actually going to be a 3-day spread trade that we put on. And I'm sorry, not a 3-day spread trade. A little longer than that. I'm sorry, a 28-day call credit spread, and we managed to grab 26% in the first couple hours. So why wait for a 50% winner when I can take 26 in one day as opposed to 50 in, 15, 20 days? So we grabbed our profit on NVIDIA, so it turned out to be a nice little day trade in here. I still think that this zone that we see here needs to get tested at some point. It's holding up okay, but I think showing a little bit of a weakness. It's got to be tired at some point. And then Tesla having a fantastic day in here today. Didn't break back above yesterday's high, but pretty much erased all of yesterday's losses as it just trading sideways. MACD RSI looks good on it. However, it remains in a bearish downtrend here. So until this bearish downtrend gets officially broken, and maybe that was today, we'll see. So we hit it, we broke it, failed at it, we broke it today. So we're going to need to see some follow through on Monday to see if this downtrend is going to hold. It's not a great looking downtrend with a lot of strength, but I think if we break through here, we've got a gap to fill at some point now up here on Tesla. Not saying this is happening anytime soon, but now there's an upside gap that needs to be filled on Tesla, where we had a downside gap in here before, which we came down and filled. So we'll see if we can come back and hit that upside gap in Tesla. Let's look at the account and wrap up for you guys for the weekend today. And I'm going to switch the screens here. All right, and we're going to pop up our trading account here. So here's what we did on the day today. We ended the day at a 636 delta, back to 0.2%. Hallelujah. It's taken quite a while for us to get back, over a week and a half, really, to get back there. We made some moves to help that today, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Theta still up there, 785, 0.27, decent theta. Again, I think right now with this low vol being VIX around 16 or so, and volatility being as low as it is, I think 0.3 theta is where you want to be. I would like to see, theta delta down a little bit, but when you have a low vol environment, I think it's okay to have a little higher theta, even though it's outside of my range. So I want to pull it down, but I really haven't been super worried because in a low vol environment, a little extra delta can mean something. If we start to increase volatility and see some selling, okay, then I definitely want to keep my delta a little bit lower. Not a hard and fast rule. Great day today. So we gained back everything that we had given up yesterday and more. A new all-time high in the account today. 289,414, another new all-time high. For the month, BP dropped to 186,882, which is 64%. Now, again, understanding that 27,000 of that, or roughly 10% of my BP, is in bill, which is the T-bills, the 1 to 3 month T-bills. So I'm technically subtracting this 10% from this 64, puts me at 54, 55-ish range. I'm fine with that right now. That's close to 50. We'll stick with it. So I'm not too worried about it because I have 10% in bill. We did have realized gains today of $709, bringing us to $1,474 up for the week. Not bad overall, not a fantastic week, but not a bad week given what happened in the markets this week. That puts our monthly realized gains at 6,801, which is a 2.38%. And we got a big one coming next week. So one of our 112 trades is probably going to be giving up its naked puts at 95% next week. They're at like 93% now. I did not want to move it into today. We'll take that off at 95 next week. If we move sideways or up at all, I expect to take those off. That's going to give us a nice boost of at least $2,200 in realized gains for the month. So that's going to put us about $9,000 up for the month. It'll put us well over our 3% goal. And if we look at the net lick movement for the month, up a little over 3,000, 1.1%. But again, net lick's not my goal. My goal is monthly realized income. And we're definitely going to hit that for the month, unless the market just turns upside down and has a pretty good sell-off next week, which could happen. You never know. We had a great week in the small account, a huge upward move. We're going to cover that in a separate video. We had a good week in the IRA. We'll cover that in another video. So overall, here's where we were. Let's take a look at the quick trades from today. So if we look at our trades from today, we had a bunch of stuff happen here. So we had 7 trades on the day. The first 2 were the put debit spreads from a ZS112. These came off today, expired worthless. We'd already closed the naked puts for 95% winners. So this was just bonus if we went higher. We did have a BABA call butterfly. We ended up taking it off after just 2 days, a small $42 loser. We did not get the follow through on BABA that we were expecting earlier in the session. I talked about NVDA earlier. We had a call spread that we put on. We were expecting this to be a 28-day trade in here, looking for a 50% winner. We ended up getting a 26% winner in just a couple hours. So we took $135 to the good. These are all just spec trades. We did close one of our LEAP puts on SPY. We did not close it at our 30% gain. What we did close it at was a $6 gain. And what this allowed me to do today was, as the market came back and this put got back into the positive territory, I just closed it because this freed up not only about 3,000 some odd dollars in buying power, it also knocked down my delta. So I get, for a small winning trade, as opposed to putting on hedges or anything else, I actually made $6 to lower my BP and decrease my delta. So to me, that's a win. That's the way that you manage your portfolio. So this is a good portfolio management technique here. Was I took off a small winner, but it helped my delta and my buying power overall. And it really didn't have a whole lot of effect on theta either. So a good overall trade. We did put on an SPX call spread, as I mentioned, late in the day. We put it on at $1.20. We took it off at 40 cents, 66% winner on that trade, $460 on that. So a quick trade. And then we did close our bear trap trade. This used to be one of my favorite trades, probably 2 to 3 years ago in the account, but I love putting these bear traps on. This one cost me or gave me $1.10 to open it in credit. We used all puts on this bear trap. We had a 5 wide PDS and a 30 wide put credit spread. So overall, we took in a credit of $1.10, and it was in the trap today. So we've realized a full $3.40 credit on this trade. So we put it on for a credit and took it off for an even bigger credit. So overall, a $4.50 or $450 winner on this trade. That was a almost 19% return on capital, 409% return on this trade overall, and took this off in 17 days. So we put it on at 20. We took it off at 17. 17 is usually my days that I like to put it on. This was just a little longer trade that we were in at 20 days. Either way, it was right in the trap, which did expire Monday. But the reason I took it off was if we run up 30 more points on Monday, we run out of the trap, and I only get to keep the $110. I would rather keep the $450 today, and instead of risking $340. All right, so there's where we were today. Good day in the account. Back up to all-time highs in every single account we have. Looking forward to next week. You guys have a great and safe weekend. If you like this video, please click that like button. Please subscribe, hit the notifications, and we'll have some more cool stuff for you. And if you haven't seen the Tesla video, go ahead and check that out. All right, take care, everybody.